Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On this week's podcast, my guest and I will be reviewing our first defeat of the 24-25 Premier League campaign away to Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth side on Saturday evening. And remember to check out the River Bar, the official pub of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. So sit back and enjoy the show. On this week's show, I'm joined by my regular guests and Arsenal season ticket holders. First of all, to my UK gooner, Northampton-based Carl Ozzy Osborne. How are you, Carl?
Good, mate. Well, apart from Saturday's result, all right. But yeah, we'll talk about that in a bit, shall we?
It's good to have you back on, Carl, and it's good to see you well again. I'm also joined by my Irish based gooner, regular pundit and analyst for us, Eamonn Donnelly. How are you, pal?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Carl. Just after surviving Storm Ashley there. He sounds like a third centre forward. My day it was Mick Jones, not Storm Ashley. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah. But, a lot to talk about this evening, so let's get into the teeth of it, shall we?
Yeah, I like that. There's plenty to talk about in this one. I have to say now, this should be a tasty podcast. Of course, it was the 35th anniversary of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club in the River Bar on Saturday. How was it, Eamonn?
Crap. We lost.
Was it good celebrations though for the club?
Great celebration for the club.
Yeah.
The people are great. The club are great. The venue was great. Everything was great, but we lost.
And that's that. I couldn't have put it better myself. But
and that was only the raffle.
I just want to say, here's to the next 35 years of the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club, and a big thanks to the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club committee for what you do year on year, season on season. It doesn't go unnoticed, so big congrats to you, lot.
No, it was. In fairness, it was a great.
I know
show.
Paul Brown was the big person in there.
I know. No, it was. No, but in fairness, like all of the committee, what they put together and the effort they made on the night, it was really, really well run. It was a top job, Pity about the result, but we met some great people there, and it was it was first class. Hats off,
Yeah, it's a great supporters club to have in Dublin, and hats off to you all. And hopefully sometime we get Carl there to come over. You're more than welcome, Carl. Anytime, feel free to come in, and we'll look after you. We'll crack on to the match review. Plenty to talk about, as Eamonn said. 2-0 to Bournemouth, as we all know by now. Ryan Christie and Justin Kluivert with a penalty, all within a 7-minute spell. Of course, the sending off of William Saliba in the 27 minutes, all but changed the game, I think, as a whole. Before the match, of course, Bukayo Saka's calf injury ruled himself out of the game. Bukayo Saka, who's had a really good start to the season, and he's becoming more influential season on season, and you could see what a loss he was on Saturday. It's the only second time Bournemouth have beaten us in the league. January 2018 was the last time, 2-1. And I suppose the action really started from really the half-hour, 27-minute mark when that incident happened. Leandro Trossard's poor back pass to William Saliba. It led to Saliba pulling down Evan Nielsen and Rob Jones, who issued initially a yellow card, but when we went to VAR screen, it was a red card. Evan Nielsen was 29 yards away from goal. Would he have made it? I very much doubt it, because I think Ray would have covered the ground to clear the ball. Also, was Rob Jones' decision influence on Howard Webb being in the ground? Now, when the camera moved over to him, he was straight on the phone. I think Carragher has a point. I think it was, and I hope that's reviewed more, because it's just becoming a joke for ourselves. Rice sent off, Trossard sent off, and now Saliba. Ben White had the ground covered. Another hasty decision, and I think referees in the Premier League, to be honest with you, are becoming more of a joke than they are professionals. Howard Webb bow your head in shame. Saliba will miss the Premier League games against Liverpool, Newcastle, and Chelsea now.
Oh, one game.
Is it just one?
One game.
Okay, one game. Howard Webb, you're off the hook. Carl Osborne's dodgy ticker there has survived. Another action, I suppose, no, it's the first half. Mikel Merino shot wide, narrowly, just outside of Kepa's left hand post. And then in the 37th minute, I thought Sterling had a good game up to that moment when he was replaced by Jakub Kiwior, but he was being given the run around by Antoine Semenyo, who had a really good game on Bournemouth's flank. The 44th minute, Dan Reyes spilled across from Semenyo, but he got up quickly to deny Tavernier, and that was the end of that for the first half. I suppose the big turning point came the second half, 68 minutes. Kepa's poor pass out was picked up by Mikel Merino, who laid it off to Martinelli. And I suppose if this was an in for Martinelli, I think he probably would have scored it. But I think, his confidence isn't the highest at the moment. But in fairness, Kepa saved well. But I think, hand on heart, I think Martinelli be really, digging at himself that he should have buried it. At 70th minute, then led to the corner. Really well worked training ground goal, I suppose, from Bournemouth. Cook to Kluivert, and then Christie really buried the shot, and I don't think Raya had a chance. And look, hats off to Bournemouth. How many times have we done it ourselves? I suppose their set piece coach is a little bollocks as well, as Eamon says, for our own. Of course, 77 minutes later, Kiwior's horrendous pass back to Evan Nielsen. But I suppose I give Kiwior a bit of credit. Evan Nielsen has a lot of pace about him for a big lad, and he chased that ball down. Did Ray have much choice but to take him down? The more you kind of look at it, I think Evan Nielsen was always looking for the penalty. He wasn't clattered or cleaned out, but he was caught. I know Match of the Day were saying that Ray should have been sent off. No way, that was a sending off. Ridiculous from Shearer and Jay Given in particular. And that all but ended the game at 2-0. Just quickly, the post-match reaction, Declan Rice, he slammed his own teammates, saying naive and silly after our third red card in 8 games, and Arteta admitted his side's ill-discipline was an accident waiting to happen. It's 18 red cards since 2019, but only our second defeat of 2024, which says a lot from where we've come. I come to yourself, a lot to talk about in this one, and I'm going to get Ozzy's view as well. Briefly on this first point, Eamon, the red cards and sending off, in your opinion, was it harsh or was it?
Okay, I think both myself and Ozzy should discuss the red card incident first.
Yeah, that's what I'd love to hear your opinion, because this has been talked about all weekend.
Okay. Yeah. Here's my opinion, and I suffered a lot of stick for this, right? In my eye, in real time, it was a red card. Right? As I watched the game, and Sparky John said to me, "Is he going to go?" I said, "I think he is." And then I said, "The only thing is the distance from the goal." Right?
29 yards.
Yeah, well, just hold on. Let me analyze it for you, right? So first of all, let's look at what caused it, right? So one of the things about the Arsenal is they play risk and reward football, right? So what it means is, and I'm going to get a little bit technical if you don't mind for a minute, right? What it means is that your defenders are always on the front foot, ready to receive the ball. Equally, we were also, Ben White and Saliba had just moved up to keep the Bournemouth players offside should our attack break down and Bournemouth put one over the top. So we've no fault finding there. Then you get on to Trossard's contribution. Of all the players in our team, to make the decision Trossard made, it was bizarre, because his first touch is normally velvet, and he's brilliant at close quarters. What got into his mind to do what he did? And I'm going to come back to how wet the pitch was in a few minutes, because I think the ball was difficult to control, right? But he gave a touch that Yaya Sanogo couldn't have managed, right? So he then put Saliba in trouble. And this is where Saliba is totally at fault, right? Saliba has the pace. when he sees danger, to analyse that in a split second, and that's what top pros do, right? And in his mind, if your man breaks away and scores, so what? We've got an hour to get a goal back. If I get sent off, so he's got two choices. Saliba, I think, would have been better off saying, okay, I'm going to make a beeline towards my own goal and try and use my pace to get on the right side of the player. So by the time he's at the edge of the box, I have a chance of standing him up. But what he doesn't do that, he goes after the player, and the only way he can engage Evan Nielsen is from behind. And if he engages him from behind, there's only going to be one outcome. And as I said, I say this, it breaks my heart, but I say it in real time. To me, it was a red card. Now, here's my problem. That's a subjective view that many people shot me down for. Why were they shooting me down? And then I read Dean Ashton, the striker, having his analysis. So I looked at it again, right? And I'm thinking, okay, Evan Nielsen hasn't got a touch on the ball. So we don't know where he's going. The ball has kind of headed off into loose terrain, which means Saliba should have actually concentrated and get back towards his own goal, number one, right? So you don't know what his first touch was going to be or where he was going to receive the ball. I don't think Raya would have got near it, by the way. But I do think, looking at it again, Ben White has a real chance of coming across. Now, Ben White would have been leaving somebody else free. That's another day's work. So all of that being subjective, my opinion doesn't matter. The opinion that does matter is the referee's opinion. The referee was in a brilliant position, and he analysed it as a yellow card. And therefore, it should have remained a yellow card because it's subjective, it's not clear and obvious. VAR had absolutely no business. I don't buy the Howard Webb thing at all. I think that was just the TV capturing the moment.
Sorry, just briefly, Eamon, for cutting across you. Do you think because he was in the stadium, do you think if he wasn't, do you think, you think Rob Jones,
I think it's a complete red herring, right? It's not, it's actually nonsense, right? And Carragher, is complicit with all that nonsense. It's sensational TV. Ditch it. It means nothing. But what I will say is this: VAR should not have intervened, and a yellow card should have stood. Right?
Yeah, I do agree.
Once VAR called the referee over, the referee has to have some set of cajones to maintain his position. Unfortunately, like that gobshite yesterday with the Man City goal, who maintained his position when he should have disallowed the goal in the first place, right? So my issue was not with, if that red card had been given by the referee, I have no issue. But the fact that he gave a yellow card and he in the best position means that he thought it wasn't clear, and VAR should have never intervened.
Yeah.
And just as I'm getting over that, then I look at the Liverpool-Chelsea one and I say, my Jesus, are Pigmall taking the absolute piss out of us? Because don't tell me, like Gary Neville, it's different than the one yesterday. It is not. It's the very same. In fact, the Liverpool player had gotten a touch on the ball. So at least he was moving in the bloody direction of the goal. So I have to say, in my naked eye, at the time, I thought red card. But that's only my view. It's not any more valid than anybody else's view. The referee gave a yellow card. It should have stayed a yellow card. And what happened at the Liverpool-Chelsea game just confirmed that.
I'd like to get your opinion, Ozzy. I don't ask you for your opinion on the red card in a second, but on the comments made by Declan Rice and Arteta in particular, Rice, naive and silly, and Arteta was an accident waiting to happen. What do you make of them comments from a captain and manager?
Well, let's put it this way, right? So I think Eamon summed up everything I was going to say on that anyway. To be honest, I'm at a stand with that. I think those comments from Declan Rice and I think Eamon touched on it. It was a naive and silly back pass from Trossard. He shouldn't have done it. We shouldn't have even put ourselves in that position. And and like you said about the split decision made by Saliba, again, you could put that as naive and silly. Now we've got to remember the lad's young; he's still a young lad, and he's made a mistake. And I guarantee you now, Trossard will not be putting the ball back to the keeper. So I think naive and silly you could actually apply to both Trossard and Saliba in that thing, but they'll both learn from it, and that's what you got to understand. Like, for me, my view is, I know you didn't say about a red card, but I think for me, I thought it was a red card as well, and I've kind of made peace with that, and I too got a bit of abuse, Eamon, for thinking that, but then the clear and obvious.
Do you feel because Saliba was the wrong side of Evan Ainsley, do you think he had to take him down, or do you think did he have any other option?
No. I think if you'd have let him, I think if he'd have held his hands up, which you've probably seen him do many of times, hold his hands up and let him run. I think Ben White might, we've seen it before where Ben White could have got back, But it didn't. That didn't happen. We were all just guessing, and ultimately, but I'm just I stand with Eamon in terms of the clear and obvious going back to VAR. That was an odd one, but ultimately, when I watched it, I thought it was a red card as well, and I'd made peace with that, and I'd absolutely made peace with that as a red card. Silly mistake. Silly mistake from Trossard. A silly decision by Saliba, but like I said, they'll learn from it. But I was at peace with it until I watched the Liverpool-Chelsea game. And actually, it was almost like I'd made peace with it, and then that dodgy ticker of mine, I managed to calm it down, and then PGMOL, hold my beer, I've got this for you, and the Liverpool Super Sunday, and raise that blood pressure. So that's how it felt, It was I think that for me is more of a kicker. If both of them had been red cards, I think I'd be sitting here at peace with it. I think we've asked for consistency, they've applied consistency. It's the fact that one team's got one decision and the other team's got another, and ultimately some of my friends, some people I've spoken to, one of the good friends of mine I would meet every week pretty much. Like he was on social media saying that some of his friends have lost love with the game because of this. That they're losing love with the game. And I had this chat with an old boy in the Woodbine not that long ago. Speaking to him about it, he was saying the same. Like decisions are. This refereeing is making him lose love for the game, and I think we got. But the thing is. It's almost like they won't care about that. They don't care about the likes that go to every game and stuff like that. Because if we stop going, the fans, we're going to a different topic now. But if we stop going now, they'll just replace us with someone else who's probably going to spend 300 quid in a club shop because they don't go that often. Yeah. So you know what I mean? And that's probably what they want. If I'm honest, that's probably what they want because there's more revenue there. It's a business. I think I'm not going to go with the agenda. I think. We see it because we're Arsenal fans, but I think other clubs could say it. I think if you asked a Wolves fan the same question, I think they'll be saying the same on their podcast tonight when they're all going through it, because they've had a few bad decisions go against them this season as well. The Howard Webb thing stands like.
But Ozzy, just your analysis is absolutely spot on. But once again, for the fourth time this season. We are in 8 weeks. We are talking about VAR.
Exactly.
And the referees, and they're centre stage now. You see, they've been given this status as part of the Premier League Circus Act, and it doesn't matter. And then you have to listen to that absolute moron, Mike Dean. I'd rather listen to Torval and Dean, and they were ice skaters. Imagine listening to the skates going around the whole time. Whoa, they're a great listen to them too. Right, but. Mike Dean said, correct decision, correct decision. It's absolute.
He never argues with the referee.
Why have they got Mike Dean in the Sky Studio? Why have they got Howard Webb on with Michael and everything? I don't want to hear them. Just go and referee the bloody game like they do in Italy, like they do in France, like they do in Germany. And it's the only problem is in England.
I've said this time and time again.
It's a pretty good point Eamon made, Ozzy. You don't see it in the Liga, Serie A, or the French league. It's all like just a soap opera. Do you think the on-field referee has lost the power of what his job is? Do you think VAR has too? you know.
There's 2 points I want to get across here. First, the first point I was going to say, you say about referees from other leagues. I sent my mate a message saying I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game against Shakhtar Donetsk. And he said, why? He said,
It's a foreign referee.
He says, hopefully, and even where he started. And I was like, no. I'm going to see a decent referee, and I'm not going to have to sit there worrying about this. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to tomorrow. But the second thing, the other point I was going to say, and I've said this time and time again on this show, that referees should be held accountable, right, live after the game. When they walk down 100%. That tunnel, they should be pulled to one side, put in a room, and say, "Talk us through that decision." Talk us through that decision, and then we'll find out what really happened. Not this scripted nonsense that they put on Sky Sports, where they've rehearsed it, they've decided to talk about it. That you need to say this, Dermot, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? To say this is what you need to say, because if you don't say that, that's going to cause us a lot of pain. Jamie Carragher, Paul, he tweeted about it, and then withdrew it. Right? Is he playing the media game? I don't know. I don't care. Yeah. But that show, you see, is scripted. It's made up. They've decided what they're going to say, and they've all sat down around the table and decided what agenda we're going to follow on that. I absolutely believe that, because you know what? The more we're talking about it, the more people are going to view it, and that's exactly what they're after. That's exactly what they're after.
Controversy.
For me, the solution for this is get those referees down that tunnel and interviewed straight off the pitch.
They should be held accountable.
And then get the reporters asking the questions. Not why not? Why not?
Carl, can I stop you on that point for a second? Because you're dead right. If you make the referees superstars in the Premier League circus, well, then they've got to be able to come and account for themselves. Otherwise, don't make them superstars. Get them off the bloody television and let them referee the game.
Exactly. We're in a halfway house right now.
Yeah.
They get all the limelight, but they don't have to account for it. No, let's stick them in front of the cameras. If they want that, let's give them it, and then let's see what they have to say when they're put against pressure and explaining decisions.
Yeah, there was another decision as well that I'd like to highlight before we get into the game as well. Obviously the second goal that led to the penalty, Eamon. It was a hospital back pass, you could say.
Okay.
Do you think that was smart?
I can tell you. If I was playing Leinster Senior League football still, and the viewers would not, despite my youthful complexion, it's a while since I played Leinster Senior League.
You wouldn't have noticed it, to be honest. It's a fine header here, yeah.
It's wavy, and wave goodbye to me. But
you don't look at
if I was playing Leinster Senior League football, that's not a penalty. And I'll tell you why. What David Raya has done is tried to make himself an obstacle. He's actually dived into the ground. He made no contact with the player. Yeah. So what are you trying to tell me? That if somebody's running through, that the goalkeeper is supposed to say, do you know what? Hang on a second, I do the moonwalk. Can you put the soundtrack on, please? I'm going to back out of your way now. There's a clear one to goal. Because I'm bad. No. If the goalkeeper lies down on the ground, isn't it up to the player to avoid him? Right? But I'm not going to complain about that particular decision because they're given all day long, right? And it's the rule that's at fault there. Yeah. David Raya has come out to make himself an obstacle, and to avoid fouling the player, has actually dived into the ground.
Yeah, the more you look at it, it doesn't even. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, Evan isn't even. He was leaving his leg in. So yes. Do you agree, Ozzy? Do you think that was a penalty or was it a right decision?
I
just want to finish, but it's always given, so I've no complaints about it.
Yeah, I think both situations. If you'd have put Saka running through on goal for the sending off for Saliba, we'd be up in arms about it. He'd have been through on goal, he'd have scored a goal. I think we'd be up in arms about it. And I think if that had been Kai Havertz taken out like that, I think we would be arguing that should have been a penalty as well. So I think I always apply a bit of, put myself in their shoes situations. I think both goals you could have done that. I think the way the VAR has been used and yeah. I also thought we won on, I can't believe they debated, I know we talk about a different game here, but Chelsea-Liverpool, they debated that one for ages. I don't know if you saw that penalty, but that was a goalkeeper saved it. Like, it was ridiculous.
The only thing I felt about that was, the goalkeeper made such a bollocks of the way he shaped his body that you'd nearly give a penalty against him for saying, what coaching manual did you read?
No, but they did take the ball first, didn't he? And yes, he followed through and took the player out. But I get that. But again,
What's he
that
supposed to do?
To work out, didn't it?
But what's he supposed to do? You say he followed through and took the player. Like just as soon as he touches the ball,
he can't stop. Exactly.
I do suspended animation now, and I'm going to amputate my leg so it doesn't follow through.
But I was watching that and I was in disbelief. Like 5 minutes it took them to work that one out. It's a shambles. Yeah. So I think we end it there. I think because we could go on all night about this, right? I think
There was another one. There was another point made on Twitter actually, in terms of Jakub Kivior. A few Arsenal fans on Twitter said he should never wear the Arsenal jersey again. How? And actually, I'll come to you, Eamon. How did you feel Kivior's performance was?
Kivier's performance was okay. He got cut out. On the. And I want to talk about the pitch for a minute.
You were saying
that pitch was almost waterlogged, right? And Everton did the opposite to us a couple of seasons ago in that they put holes in it, right? And it's just something that we're going to have to deal with. We're a bloody good team with bloody good players, right? And Bournemouth, in order to give themselves advantage, overwatered the pitch. And Kivior's, when you're running on a pitch like that, particularly if you're the defender going towards your own goal, you're very unsure of your footing. And B, he undercooked the pass. But on a dry pitch, that's going back to the goalkeeper. And look, I mean, if people want to spend their life on Twitter being sensationalist, grand. I think Kivior did okay. He made a mistake, right?
Yeah. Do you think that was a harsh comment, Ozzy? He should never wear the jersey again, or just utterly ridiculous.
I think Arsenal fans just to stop looking for a scapegoat and just accept we played poorly.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
Yeah, just it was very poor, weren't he?
Don't blame the agenda of VAR. Don't give him an excuse to use it against us, right? And don't blame Jacob because he's made a mistake. Trossard made a mistake as well. We will still be singing Trossard again. Ole. Next time we go to the stadium, you know what I mean? Just stop looking. Sometimes we just lose games. And it's football.
We lost one. That's the first one domestically since January.
I know. But it's only our second away defeat. The last one was Fulham at the back end of December. Craven Cottage, that was 2-1. That was the last way. That's incredible run of form, isn't it? But it's easily forgotten about by some fickle Arsenal fans, isn't it? Like the minute we have a blip, everything just the ceiling just caves in.
No, but I didn't look. I mean, there's all of this. We haven't won a title in 20 years. Liverpool fans are going through that for 30 years. But
40 years.
But they got behind that team, you know.
I'll always give them that.
I think that they weren't in the Twitter age that we're in now, and I think people should, if people want to remain anyway sane, or at least the first cousin of sane, just avoid social media. Just avoid it.
It's a poison. Yeah, it's a poison that you don't need as a fan. I'd just like to come to the biggest chance, and me and Eamon said this in the preview show last week. There's a mistake in Kepa, and in that 68 minute when he gave the ball to Mourinho, who set up Martinelli, that was the turning point in the match, wasn't it? If that went in, Bournemouth weren't on it. I think if anything, we would have probably went on to win it. What do you think, Eamon? That was a huge miss, wasn't it?
Can I go back before I go forward? The way Bournemouth played, I've never seen it before. And I said this after about 10 minutes. And there was a bit of a party atmosphere in the club because of the 35th. And fellas were chatting. But I was stuck on the game. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but I was stuck on the game. But I was enthralled by, intrigued by what they were trying to do. They were actually playing a high press and a low block at the same time. It was incredible to look at. They were pressing us really highly, but because the pitch was slow, and think about this, Carl, right? When we got the ball, we couldn't transition it out as quickly, and they were able to come back into a low block, right? So if you watch that full game again, first 10, 20 minutes, we were struggling to get out, but yet when we got the ball in transition, we were so slow getting it out, right? And there's two reasons for that. One, the pitch was that wet, and two, and I said this to you on a private text, Carl, if you look at our midfield three of Mourinho, Rice, and Partey, they're all very, very good facing the play.
Yeah.
There's not one of them is any good taking the ball with their back to the opposition goal. The players that we have that can do that are Saka, not available, Odegaard, not available, and Monieri, right? He's capable of getting the ball, but it's back to the opposition goal. Havertz can do it, but he's further up the pitch, right?
Yeah.
Now, so what I'm saying is that Bournemouth managed to play this, and it was definitely designed. They definitely overwatered the pitch for a reason. It was a piece of genius in my view. They're allowed water pitches as much as they like, you know. So they played this high press and a low block, and normally that means that you could play through them if you got a quick transition. We couldn't do that. But the other thing it means is you could only get away with doing that for about an hour because you'd feel like you'd run 3 marathons after it.
Yeah.
Right? And if we'd have stayed 11v11 at 0-0 on the hour, they would have started getting tired and we'd have won the game. Then you come on to the Martinelli chance, right? Martinelli is not playing with confidence. He's played some great games this season in terms of effort and endeavour. He's not striking the ball well. And here's what I'm going to say to you, right? When you're confident and you're in front of goal, you see the net. When you're not confident and you're in front of goal, you see the goalkeeper. And he keeps seeing the goalkeeper. He keeps hitting straight at the goalkeeper. You know, and that might sound like stupid. It's not.
Do you feel as well, Eamon? Do you feel that's the pressure on the shoulders, you know, because, you know, there's pressure for his position now as well, isn't it, to perform?
Well, if that's the case, then he doesn't have the mental stuff that's needed.
It's easily done as well, though, Eamon. Isn't it? Like, he is a top player. Your confidence can go, though. You know?
Yeah, but Jonathan, your confidence can go. But what I'm saying is that to get where we have put ourselves,
the levels,
on that level, you know, you've got to be able to handle pressure. So if the answer is he's not responding to the pressure, and I don't necessarily agree with that. But if that's the case, well, then he's not going to go any higher level, right? But I just think that at the moment he's had a barren spell. If you look at the goals he got, he ankled one in the game against Leicester, right? I thought it was a nice strike. He put side spin on the ball, and then the other goal was he kind of left footed it quickly across the goal. He didn't have time to think about it. But I think when he's had time to think, Atalanta away, a couple of chances against Southampton, and then that chance, I actually think the way Mourinho played him in, if he takes a touch, it's a penalty. Or if the tackle doesn't come in, the goalkeeper's left on his arse and he's an empty net. And Martinelli's good enough to be able to do that. I just think he took it too early. And as I said, the best analogy I can give, I can't remember which famous centre forward said it. When you're confident, you see the net. When you're not, you see the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and it's that you could see that at that very moment. Yeah, Ozzy, that was a huge moment in the game, wasn't it? If that went in, do you believe Bournemouth would have came back? I don't think so. Do you?
Well, no, I think it changed the game completely. I think they scored not long after that, didn't they? As well,
literally 2 minutes after.
It was almost that period of play really defined the rest of the match for me. I couldn't see coming back from that. You know, as I was watching it, I think with Martinelli, I think we said this before with Kai Havertz, didn't we, some time ago? It's that extra second for me as well. Just that extra second makes the difference, and that's the difference. Like you say, if you're confident, we've seen him before, just nestled out in the bottom corner, not even thinking. I think how calm he is. You know, we're talking. You know, look at the goals he scored over the years, and yeah, I was disappointed with that chance. I ain't gonna lie, but am I looking again? I'm not looking for a scapegoat. I'll be contradicting myself on Martinelli. I'm not blaming him for that. I think had it fell to Trossard, we had a better chance of scoring it, but he wasn't there. You know, but it's I think Martinelli just needs that confidence, doesn't he? And we thought we'd got over that with a couple of goals, but let's not dwell on it. And you know, it is what it is. And we just need, like I say, get behind him. Like I said, just get behind the team. Get behind him. He's a young lad. He'll learn from it as well, right?
We play Shakhtar Donetsk tomorrow night. Get behind Martinelli. Get behind Jesus. Get behind all the players That's what we should be doing as Arsenal fans. I'm not down on Martinelli. I think he's just not playing with. I think he's playing brilliant stuff in terms of his team contribution, but he's just not confident in front of goal at the minute. You know.
But at Southampton, he was unbelievable when he came on.
He was, yeah. And Leicester City, Ozzy.
Next level when he came on. It was Southampton, wasn't it? When he came on as sub and absolutely ripped it up, I'm pretty sure it was. But he, a couple of games we've watched this season, he's been an impact sub, and he's come on and changed the game. Yeah, just from his, his runs, his bombing down the left. So look, we've got a player there. We just need to keep it on.
Totally.
In terms of obviously the second goal, it was a very well taken penalty by Justin Kluivert. In fairness, barely to pass David Ray, who, in fairness, is good at a penalty stopper, but literally didn't have a chance with that one. In terms of the corner kick, the goal we conceded, was it just poor marking or just a great set piece by Bournemouth Eamonn for their Ryan Christie's?
I think it's two things. I think the team, because we're playing with 10, is feeling a bit sorry for itself because 75 seconds earlier it hasn't taken the lead, right? And we switched off. Bournemouth had lumped all the corners in before that, and we were expecting that. And we put Kai Havertz in a space, in a pocket, to try and offset what they might do, but we only half did it. And we switched off. Bad marking. Switched off. I mean, it's not that Ryan Christie should be picked up. The player at the player at the front of the 6-yard box should never be allowed to get the touch he got.
Justin Kluivert, yeah. I can't actually remember. I think it could have been Ben White, could have been the nearest to him, but I can't remember the player nearest to Kluivert. It was a clever little flick, but we just, as it was perfectly actually put, Eamon, we just felt sorry for ourselves that we didn't score.
I think so. I think we were still reliving the miss 75 seconds earlier.
100%. And I was just about to say that, because like we all felt that as fans, didn't we? We thought we're going to get very few chances now with 10 men, and then I felt that as a fan watching him miss that, going, "Oh, it's going to be one of them days." And they might have felt like that. And then next thing you know, it's they're feeling it as well. Right? We're feeling it on the TV.
Ozzy, do you think Bournemouth should be given credit, like for the way the set piece coach, was it a well worked goal? And, yeah.
Why not? You got to give them credit. They're full of set piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But we should have been alive to it,
Yeah, it's just those split. It's always you have to say it's against the likes of those teams. Bournemouth, they'll always be relying on set pieces to do, and you're always vulnerable even with with 10. You can even see Arteta came out and said it brilliantly as well in his post match. He says when you're down to 10 men, especially in arenas like Bournemouth type pitch and all, that's the level you're at in the Premier League. 11v10.
Arteta was brilliant after the game because, unlike a Jose Mourinho or one of these other,
he's very honest.
What he did was he said the way we've been kind of getting guys sent off is an accident, but he also said that the way the players tried and the way the fans kept encouraging them to try was a credit to the players and all of that. Now I can tell you privately in the dressing room, that is not the conversation that would have taken place.
Yeah, 100%.
He didn't hang the players out on the washing line.
No.
We'll do that in house. Thank you very much.
Yeah. That's when you start doing that. That's when the problems do start arising and players.
Oh, that's real. Well, it's not my fault. I'm not part of the problem. It's them.
It's finger pointing.
No, the players really wanted it, and the fans and he's trying to keep that connection between the players and the fans. But I would say the dressing room, and I think that's what prompted Declan's comments.
And I can guarantee you as well, Eamon, it wouldn't just be Arteta in the dressing room. It would be Declan Rice would be given as good as well to the players. I mean,
Make no mistake, Arteta and his coaching staff run the show, not the players. Right? I think what they try and do is create an environment for the players to be the best they can be. But when Declan came out, it sounded to me like like they'd had a good old look at each other in the dressing room, and
A wake-up call.
it was a wake up call. It
Yeah.
was a bad day at the office, but we've made too many things have gone wrong this season to be a complete accident. Okay, we've had injuries, grand, but you know, we're winning 1-0 at Brighton, we get a man sent off. We're winning 2-1 at Man City, we get a man sent off. We're 0-0 against Bournemouth when they're playing this mad high press and low block that it's going to run out of steam, and we get a man sent off. Not good enough.
Yeah. To yourself, Ozzy, do you think, 18 red cards since 2019, do you think there's a bit of a worry about disciplinary for ourselves, or do you think, it is a bit of a worry? It's a high number, isn't it? Like in 5 years?
We can't have it both ways. We were too soft before.
Yeah.
Vieira got red cards. We've had players over the years that had, we can't be a pushover. We can't have all this shithousery, and now and again we're going to get red cards. I think it's just the way we play. We play with passion, and ultimately, I think.
But none of them were for foul play.
No. The recent ones, like the two Trossard and Declan Rice, like they're not red cards, right? But I think the last three, the Saliba and that. But I think, it's. I don't think we're a nasty team, are we? We don't come across as nasty.
We are a nasty team, and long may it continue.
No, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We're not putting in dirty challenges, leg breakers, and stuff like that. You know what I mean. We're not doing a Stoke, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, yeah.
No. I mean, we're not doing that. But what I'm saying is that we're as good at the dark arts now as any team.
You have to be,
right? But I mean, you have to be.
Yeah, and City were the same fuckers that came out against us a month ago. Yesterday against Wolves, the amount of dark arts they were doing because they were 1-0 down. It's in particular just one player I'll single out with City, Bernardo Silva.
Well, he's a dark art maestro.
He is a little what he was doing to Saha and corner stand on it.
But aside from all that.
But as Eamon said, like you said, Eamon, you need that now, don't you? You need a bit of fight,
Look, everybody in the media, and it's been like this since the 1930s, hates the Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I've been living with that all my life, right? So, on the one hand, we have a soft underbelly. We're too easy to roll over. Now we have a team that can do a bit of nasty. And that's wrong too. And now we have a problem with discipline. It's bullshit. All I'm saying to you is that the team, Kevin, I'm going to give you a Gaelic football analogy, right? In the 1970s, when the Dublin team rose up out of nowhere, their manager, Kevin Heffernan, because Gaelic football was traditionally a game played by country people, right? The manager used to play friendly games or challenge games, and he'd get a referee from Dublin to referee, and he used to say, give everything against us because we're going to have to get used to it.
Yeah.
Right? And Arsenal have to realise, I mean, those decisions this season have been disgraceful. I mean, the one at the weekend was more, at least we could have a debate about that. It's not subjective, But, I mean, if we keep going the way we're going, we'll play 14 games with 10 men. You can't win nothing before they're playing 14 games with 10 men. So we're just going to have to make allowances for the fact that Pigmall are taking the piss and rise above it.
Yeah. And it's taken, as Eamon said, he pointed out a few shows back, if this keeps continuing that we're watching 10v11 as a fan paying good money for it, it's taken the complete enjoyment out of the game, and you're going to see a drop in attendance, because there's no enjoyment. Yeah,
it's football. 11v11 is football.
Yeah, you don't mind, as Eamon rightly pointed out, and Ozzy, we could have a debate about the Saliba red card, but some of the red cards are given are just absolutely ridiculous. Even Chris Kavanagh even admitted for the Brighton game, I made a mistake. Well, why do it in the first place? Why be pressured? If your gut instinct is it's not a red card, don't give it. You know what I mean?
We're not here to review the Brighton
But
game.
you know what I mean, Eamon? If they feel in themselves, referees go with their gut and not with pigmaul. Ozzy, briefly, do you think you don't think the 18 red cards in 5 years is anything to worry about? You know, you believe that?
I'd carry on doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
But just not be silly and naive, and you know that's the Saliba one we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Today that was silly and naive. It was a split decision, and I'm not guarantee next time out he gets put in that situation, he'll do something different because he'll learn from it.
But you know what, Ozzy, on that, if it had been Gabriel, I could have understood it because he doesn't have that blinding pace that Saliba has.
Exactly.
As somebody who nobody will believe this, but I was actually a sprinter when I was younger. I had pace.
I still see you, Eamon, when you reach that bar. Nothing beats you.
No, but if I was playing last man there and I had pace in my legs, my first instinct would be, don't worry about the ball. Go straight towards your own goal. Use your pace to try and get before he can get a shot on goal. Like if you look at it, Saliba has 25 yards that he can make up those 2 yards.
And as you said, Ben White was probably done to, but like just briefly on that, you know, it's been a busy show, and we'll probably wrap up now in the next couple of minutes. But when you watch the back, I was watching the back of match today, you could see David Ray was backpedaling. If he had actually come out towards the ball, do you think? I think maybe even the decision might have been, you know, but you never know. Look, it's hearsay, but I don't want to come to Eamon first. It was a difficult match now for us after the international break. We said that. Could you pick out a man of the match for Arsenal yourself? Who stood out for you?
The VAR official.
Yeah.
No, to my mind, their best player yet again was Kai Havertz. You know.
Yeah, it's a good show. Yeah, he held the ball up pretty. Ozzy, the same. Kai Havertz.
Yeah. You know, it's hard to choose it. I think even rise between them. I think. Probably, but Kai Havertz hard to choose one.
Yeah, I'd probably go 1, 2, 3 with that, lads. Yeah. Just briefly, lads. Saliba now obviously out of the Liverpool game. That's going to be. Do you think that it will be a huge loss? But do you think that could be a significant factor on Sunday?
All depends for me if Timber's fit. Because I'd put Ben White in the middle, if I'm honest.
Or Calafiori.
Calafiori, yeah. Good shout, Eamon. Yeah, he's yeah.
I'll tell you what, I thought that's quite an odd decision with Kivior. I'm not just saying that. I know we talked about him, his mistake and stuff, but I think I thought that's quite an odd decision, that substitution. I think that one's on Mikel a little bit, in that game, because I think you could have easily gone Partey at right back because he's played the last couple of games there, brought Jorginho on, and not disrupted that too much. Put Ben White in the middle because Ben White can play good. He's good at centre back. You know, we're talking about Ben White not even keeping. How's he going to keep his place? You know, a year or so ago, I think he's a great centre half, but yeah, I'd like to see Ben White go back in with Gabriel and
bit of physicality as well.
If Timber's fit, then get him in for Liverpool anyway. And I think we got a good thing about this game on Tuesday night. I think we can play a bit with it as well, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't know how far Timber is off though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, it's a big game tomorrow night, of course, match day 3 in the Champions League against Shakhtar Donetsk. And no doubt the lads will bounce back and give a positive result. And we'll have a review of that one on Wednesday evening as well. Busy show. I'd like to thank Carl Ozzy Osborne from the UK as always. Thanks for coming on, Pat. And to Eamon, the roofer Donnelly. Thanks very much. You can all big shout out again to the Dublin Arsenal Sports Club. Great to see the 35th anniversary there on Saturday, and long may here's to the next 35 years, hopefully, of the Sports Club. You can catch the show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and listen to us on Spotify. So until Wednesday's review of the Shakhtar Donetsk game, have a good couple of days and we'll see you then. Thanks, lads.
Slán. See you later.